Hello students. So today we will learn about the political unification. Okay, that is from the chapter the growth of nationalism. The growth of nationalism. From there today we will see the political unification. That means one or two countries or more than two countries they come together and they start working together. That is called political unification. Okay, so Napoleon wanted to make France a dominant power of Europe. This involved him in numerous wars, and finally he succeeded in carving out an extensive French empire in 1811. So Napoleon wanted to make a very powerful empire in Europe, and that is why this thinking he involved him in many wars, numerous wars, and finally he is succeeding in carving out an extensive French empire in 1811. So when he thought to become a very powerful empire in Europe or country in Europe, he had to fight many wars against the other European countries, and finally he is succeeding to establish his empire in 1811. First coalition. First coalition means some countries they form together, for some political works. The first attempt to crush the French Revolution was made in 1793 when Austria, Sardinia, Holland, Prussia, Spain and England formed the first coalition. The French army under Napoleon's command defeated the coalition forces. So in 1793, the first attempt to crush the French Revolution was made, and here in this time Austria, Sardinia, Holland, Prussia, Spain and England they formed the coalition, but they were defeated by the French army. Who was commanding officer was Napoleon. Napoleon defeated this coalition army. Next is second coalition. The second coalition against French was formed in 1798. It consisted of Austria, England and Russia. At this time, Napoleon was busy with a military campaign in Egypt. Therefore, the French Republic suffered corruption and was defeated. After returning to France in 1799, Napoleon attacked Austria and defeated and made it to sign a pact called Treaty of Unification in 1801. In 1802, England made peace with Napoleon and returned most of the conquered territories to France. So, the second coalition against France was formed in 1798, and Austria, England and Russia, these three countries formed this coalition. And this time Napoleon was busy with military campaign in Egypt, and that is why he could not help the French Republic or his army, and that is why the French Republic suffered corruption and was defeated by the coalition of Austria, England and Russia. But when Napoleon returned back to France, first he attacked the Austria and defeated and made her to sign a pact, what is called Treaty of Unification in 1801. in 1802, England made peace with Napoleon and returned most of the conquered territories to France. Okay. Napoleon dreamt of establishing his own sovereignty. In 1802, the Senate elected him consul for life. So earlier he was also elected a consul by the consulate. So here Napoleon, he dreamt that he would establish his empire or his own sovereignty, and in 1802 the Senate elected him as the consul or consul for life. After 2 years, in 1804, Napoleon crowned himself as the Emperor of France at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, and in 1805, Napoleon crowned himself as the King of Italy in Milan. So, after 2 years, in 1804, Napoleon crowned himself as the Emperor of France at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, and in 1805, Napoleon crowned himself as the King of Italy in Milan. Okay, and before 2 years, he was elected as consul in 1802. Okay, so now what happened in the third coalition? The third coalition against France was formed by England, Sweden, Austria and Prussia in 1805. Napoleon marched against Austria and defeated it and forced to surrender its territories to France. So, that coalition was formed in 1805 by England, Sweden, Austria and Russia against France. So, the Napoleon, he marched against and attacked Austria and defeated it and forced her to surrender its territories to France. The Treaty of Pressburg led to the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire and creation of the Confederation of Rhine in 1806. This was composed of Baden, Bavaria, Württemberg and 13 other minor states of southwest Germany. These states recognized Napoleon as their protector and pledged to support him in all his war efforts. So, the Treaty of Pressburg, okay, led to the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire. What is dissolution? It is that the action of formally ending dismissed partnership. Earlier, France was the partner of Holy Roman Empire because there was a treaty, and he was Napoleon allowed the Christians to worship in the France, okay, and he made the state religion. But now he stopped that, and whatever things was given to Roman Empire, now it is ended, okay, and it created the Confederation of Rhine in 1806. What is this confederation? And this was composed of Baden, Bavaria, Württemberg and 13 other minor states. Okay. So, and this confederation was formed, this Baden, Bavaria, Württemberg and with other 13 minor states. And in this confederation says that these states, they recognized Napoleon or France as their protector from the other invasions, and they pledged to support him in all his war efforts. Next is fourth coalition. Alarmed by the growing power of Napoleon, a coalition comprising of England, Austria, Russia, Prussia and Sweden was formed. The coalition powered defeated Napoleon. However, Napoleon defeated Austria and Prussia in 1806 and Russia in 1807. With the expedition of England, he was able to defeat all the powers of the coalition. So the third coalition was formed to suppress the growing power of Napoleon, and it comprised of England, Austria, Russia, Prussia and Sweden. And this coalition power, they defeated Napoleon, but later on Napoleon defeated Austria and Prussia in 1806 and Russia in 1807, and with this expedition of England, he was able to defeat all the powers of the coalition.